What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Voice Center podcast. It's your boy Marno Jorge, and I'm here with Joe Miranda. Joe, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm chilling, I'm chilling. So let's just get right into it, man. A lot of talk about the All-Star game for the past pretty much 48 hours. LeBron came out with some comments talking about, he has zero energy, zero excitement towards this year's All-Star game. Giannis pretty much did the same thing. Kawhi also LeBron, now LeBron obviously didn't say I'm not gonna play, but LeBron just said like because of what's going on with the pandemic and stuff like that, like I don't why do we even feel the need to agree to this? I don't know what's going on. But the president of the Players Association is Chris Paul. So LeBron, Chris Paul, and those guys, like the four guys, they should have known about this. They should have known this was gonna happen because the NBA did inform, coming to LeBron's defense, the NBA did talk about that. Hey, we're not going to have an all-star game this year due to everything that's going on and stuff like that. But then they started building up like a week. No, it was really last week, and then it started building this week, and then they're still finalizing the process, but it's pretty much official that there's going to be an all-star game and stuff like that. And so, yeah, Kawhi also came with some comments talking about, it's the money and stuff like that. It's a business, which is true. You know, the NBA lost a lot of money when the pandemic
Yeah.
started. When they came to the bubble, they had to regain it back, and then they had to start the season on Christmas because they didn't want to start in January because of the how much money they would lose. So that's another one. Now you got the All Star game. That's like four times where it's a business and stuff like that. And so, I think we should have an All Star game? No, because first of all, Atlanta. Now it's going to be in Atlanta, and Atlanta is one of the hot spots right now in terms of COVID. It's like if you want to talk about two states in terms of the people that do not care about COVID right now, it's literally Florida and Atlanta and Georgia. It's insane. Like it's like normalcy is there right now. Like everything is open. I don't even know if people are wearing masks out there. I don't even know if people are socially distant. I guess a problem right now in terms of uh, being open and stuff like that. And so when you like it said on the schedule that they had like a week, almost a week break. Because normally when we had normalcy back and stuff like that, we would have the All-Star game and you would have, the skills challenge, USA versus world, the three-point contest, the dunk contest, and then you cap it a lot and then you finish it off with the All-Star game. And then the players would go back to their teams and stuff like that, whatever they need to go, and it would normally be like 3 to 4 days. Because some guys had to play, some guys were resting and stuff like that. It's really for most of the guys that played that kind of get that rest and stuff like that. So now LeBron's kind of looking at it and saying, okay, why are we having it this year? Because it's not really the All Star games for the fans. It's really for us as the NBA fans, the game
Mhm.
that we see and that we love, that we they're like there's a primary reason why. If you want to talk about maybe percentage wise, it's really 80 to 90% is about fans, and then everything else is about the charities and all this
Yeah.
and that. And apparently they're doing it because of HBCUs, historically black colleges and stuff like that. I got no problem with that. That's not the issue that I have. The issue that I have is like you're legitimately thinking about doing a game, which when you know, it's not really because look at it, man. So we're talking about guys that are going to get selected to the All Star game this year. What about the guys that aren't going to be there? A De'Aaron Fox, maybe a Jamal Murray. I mean, like guys that are looking on the outside in. And apparently there was a tweet. I don't feel some Shans and Woes that's how about that they can travel outside. Go to Puerto Rico. Well, not really outside. Well, yeah, the only country was Puerto Rico, really inside the United States, Hawaii and other places and stuff like that. But I'm like, really? Because okay, so the All Star week thing comes. Okay, so the NBA players that got selected to the All Star game, they go to Atlanta. Okay, the guys that did not go, they're gonna travel. And then when it's all over and stuff like that, you have to quarantine them because there's no way, assumingly wherever they go is gonna be a problem because then now they're not gonna quarantine, they're not gonna be in isolation for a couple of days. They're gonna just be going all out to these different places, which you don't even know how high the risk of COVID is. And then you also have to look at the fact that, oh well, I'm just gonna do this and I'm just gonna do that, and then you come back, and then now you gotta come back with your other teammates, the guys that were pretty much in a bubble in Atlanta. Like it's a lot of things. It's a lot of
Yeah.
mixing, a lot of people coming together, which is gonna be a problem. You do not want that. You do not want that. So that give me some of your reactions to the news that came out, man.
I pretty much agree with you. Like it's and plus, if the players are not really motivated to go and do it, it's not gonna be the same. And like there's a certain goal that we want, and it's like playoffs. We don't really need the All-Star game right now, especially with the circumstances with the virus and everything. It's just safer this way, if especially if you don't want the league to shut down because of the cases stuff. So it's honestly better if we don't.
I don't. I. Yeah. You're exactly right. Because I don't like. I think one thing that we took like when the pandemic first started, and like I was one of those people that was like, okay, this is just gonna be something that's gonna take a week or two. You know, probably
Yeah.
just a little something, stuff like that. Just like everyone else. No one really took it seriously until all the news came out, until all the cases came out, and that's when it was
Yeah.
starting to become a problem. And that's what's kind of like, okay, they're really gonna shut down, and then it restarted. You know, they went to the bubble and stuff like that, and then now it's starting in December. It started during Christmas week and stuff like that. I think one thing that we learned is that we can't take it for granted. You know, the basketball part and stuff like that. The fact that we're even playing basketball in the pandemic right now is just insane. And the NFL, I don't know if you know, but like I don't know if you know this, man, but the NFL went one whole season without canceling a game. All they had to do was pretty much
Wow.
reshuffle. Yeah, when other leagues are canceling games and so forth, the NFL was the one league that they just reshuffled and removed games. There was no need of cancelments and stuff like that. They went through all games, and now tomorrow is going to be the Super Bowl, which is exactly the one big game every year when it comes to the NFL. But now the NBA is like kind of like there's a lot of games that are postponed, a lot of stuff that are postponed. And I got some comments here from Carmelo. Carmelo said, I don't think it's right. I don't think we need it and stuff like that. And pretty much LeBron's original quote that I'll just give you, I don't even know why we're having an all-star game. You know, I had zero energy and very zero excitement towards playing an all-star game and calling it pretty much a slap in the face because the NBA did say we're not having an All-Star game this year. They said that, but then now you pretty much do like a 180 and you agree to an All-Star game. You agree to this and that. You know, I don't know because I just kind of feel bad for the dudes that are gonna potentially be the first time All Stars, like a Jalen
Mhm.
Brown. I think Bradley Beal was an All Star in the past. He was an All Star in the past, but I
I
think
think
yeah, he was already an All Star. But like guys that are potentially maybe a Jalen Brown. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell's been in the All Star game. There's like a lot of guys that are gonna be first time All Star, they're not gonna get the normal experience that it should be. Yeah, the All Star game's all about the All Star weekend's all about fun. It's all about fan interaction. It's all about the events that go out throughout the weekend. That's pretty much what the objective is. But because we're in a pandemic, and also the Atlanta Hawks are having fans there. So assumingly, what you're gonna have 5,000, 10,000 fans. I don't know
mhm.
if you're really gonna have that. And then what's really the point? Like one of the reasons why you have fans is for events like the skills challenge, the dunk contest, the 3-point contest. Like players feed off the crowd. And you know,
Yeah.
when you see guys like going on a hot streak from three, or guys having an impressive dunk, like that's really what the fans there are for. But then again, it's about a business. So the NBA is kind of realizing, we got to get some of this revenue. You know, you got the TV partners, Turner Sports NBA on TNT, with Ernie, Shaq, Chuck, those guys, who obviously do a good job and stuff
Mhm.
like that. They're kind of like, okay, we're just gonna pick up the money, and it's a lot of things. This is also from Kemba Walker. We've all seen what Bron said. I agree. He's a smart man. A lot of things he says are correct. I'm probably gonna be on vacation. Yeah, so Kemba might not be the guys that are gonna go to the All Star game this year, mostly because he was out and for majority of this. Like I think he's already played 7 or 8 games for majority of the league. is assumingly 20, 23, 24, 25 games in. So Kemba's not going to go this year really because he was hurt. So he never really got that rhythm and stuff like that. But it's things like that that you kind of go, okay, I don't want now. Obviously, I don't know with Commissioner Silver, and now let's just get to right to the next thing, which is the KD issue. The
Mhm.
KD stuff that can't happen. I don't know if you know this, man, but I saw yesterday some report that said KD's gonna miss the start of the game due to contact tracing. I'm like, so originally the story was Kevin Durant was with a friend of his who had an inconclusive test. So Brooklyn was kind of like, okay, you know what, we're gonna bench KD for right now, and it was the first game that KD ever got benched in his whole career, and it wasn't really because of his play and stuff like that. It was because of contact tracing.
Yeah.
So you kind of go and stuff like that. The test results, waiting, waiting, waiting. So Steve Nash is kind of like, okay, you know what, Kevin, go in. So Kevin goes in, he gets in a little bit of a rhythm, and then they come and then they pull him out. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, like, what are y'all doing? And then they
Yeah.
come to find out that the test was positive. So it's like, okay, we got to go get him out. So they took KD out, and and then now you might have to test the whole Raptors, like not really the whole Raptors team, but the guys that were guarding Kevin Durant majority of the night, the primary guys that were guarding Kevin Durant, you might have to test them. And now, I don't know if KD has symptoms. They said apparently they came out with a report now saying that KD's not going to play until Friday.
Oh.
So it's because of the inconclusive test that came out that I was actually positive, he's not going to play until Friday. And it's like, it's ridiculous because you could have postponed the game if that was going to happen then. You could have
Mhm.
just not played him at all. You could have just waited until you got the test results back because
Yeah.
now you do this flip flopping and now potentially the Raptors. I don't know if I don't think they're going to be in quarantine, stuff like that. But I think if you're the Raptors players, some of the players that were guarding Kevin Durant, you might have to get tested now again because
Yeah.
of what the NBA did. Like that's ridiculous. That's why I hate contact tracing sometimes because I don't know if it's entirely accurate because like a dude's not testing positive, it's in contact with the teammate or with a friend or with a trainer or with the one of the coaching staff and stuff like that. Like that stuff's ridiculous. That stuff's ridiculous because now KD gets mad because they're kind of like, okay, I'm getting benched. Okay, I'm coming in. I'm trying to get in my rhythm, and they all take me out. And then it's ridiculous, right? Commissioner Silver got a lot on his plate right now. He got to
Yeah.
deal with the fact that LeBron criticized the NBA having an All-Star game, and now you got guys, high-profile guy. Now, De'Aaron Fox did come out and say, I think it's stupid to have an All-Star game, and I get where De'Aaron's coming from in terms of the safety issues and what's going to come out and what's going on and stuff like that. So I get where he's coming from. But like some people were saying, well, obviously it's because he's not going. Well, maybe there's a small percentage of him saying because he's not going and stuff like that. But when it's high profile guys like a Carmelo Anthony, a Kemba
Yeah.
Walker, a guy like a De'Aaron Fox is not going to get that many all-star votes. You're not gonna. He's De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is improving now. I don't
Yeah.
think people
Yeah.
realize that De'Aaron Fox got a high ceiling for the future. Because of Sacramento, I don't know how really he's gonna get all-star votes. But because they kind of look at De'Aaron and kind of say, okay, you're at the bottom. You shouldn't really be talking about and stuff like that. Now, when a guy like LeBron, who's pretty much on the top of the food chain, comes
Yeah.
out and says that I think it's ridiculous that we have an all-star game. Commissioner Silver got to deal with those comments, plus Kawhi, Giannis, Carmelo, multiple guys that that all the All Star game stuff like that. Guys like Carmelo and Kemba are gonna get voted, but I don't think they're gonna play. So then they're probably just gonna, some guys are gonna be on vacation, some guys are gonna be away, you know, from their respective cities and go elsewhere. So I don't know because I don't really know how this is gonna work. You're pretty much gonna take every guy from every other city. You're gonna put them all in one, and then it's pretty much all everything in one day to clear out because the way it was in the All Star games, like Saturday, I think, yeah, Saturday they had the All Star. I mean, they had the USA versus World, the skill challenge, the dunk contest, and they have the All-Star game, then all in one day. But now they're mixing it, everything in general, which I don't know. It doesn't make sense because
Yeah.
after they do all of that, now they have to go back, and I think they're gonna have to quarantine, and then they're probably gonna have to interact with the guys that did not get voted. They're gonna come back in. So I think we should. I think it's just more worry about the guys that are not going to be there. That are probably not going to be in their respective cities. They're going to go elsewhere and pretty much take a couple days off. So
Hmm.
Commissioner Silver got to clear that up. Plus the KD thing, that was ridiculous. Come on, that stuff like that just can't happen. Either
Yeah,
he
for real.
plays or he doesn't play because you do all of this flip flopping and stuff like that. It's going to have a lot of people frustrated. Yeah, KD's not going to play again until Friday. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And now, and now, granted, Kevin Durant did not test positive. He was testing negative. The person
Hmm.
that was with him had an inconclusive test, but then when he was playing, if it came out positive and then you take him out, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And then James Harden came out with a statement saying, "We quote, we get tested every single day. He's been negative, so I don't understand what the problem is. If that was the case, the game should have been postponed. A, if we're talking about
Yeah.
contract tracing, he was around all of us. I don't understand why he wasn't allowed to play. Dude, then was able to play and then taken back off. So that in and of itself just doesn't make sense. The NBA's got to
Yeah.
clear that up and stuff like that. That's why that contact tracing stuff's ridiculous because I just don't get it. Because you avoid situations like this. This is why this is why when you have that contact tracing stuff, you don't even know if it's entirely accurate because
Yeah.
now it's not really Kevin Durant, it's the person that was with Kevin Durant that was doing all of that and stuff like that. So I mean, you know, so tell me a team that you've been watching or you've been seeing that you think has been surprising, like a team that you expected that wasn't supposed to be there that are there. They're like team that just surpassed expectations, pretty much. A team or so that you've seen or you've
Uh,
observed and seen.
mm, I mean, some of these teams haven't really surprised me. Like I knew this season is gonna be competitive, like really competitive. Uh, but I guess I say definitely Utah staying in the
Utah.
top of the league.
Yeah.
Like that really surprised me.
I'm kind of surprised with Denver because I didn't expect. Where's Denver right now? Okay, Denver is fourth. They're tied
Hmm.
with the Suns. They're tied with the Nuggets and Suns have the same record in 12-9. The Nuggets, you would expect them to be better by now, but I think really probably because of the bubble and how short.
Yeah.
Well, they went to the Western Conference Final, so they got more days than the Lakers and the Heat, pretty much. But they're probably still feeling that fatigue from the bubble and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, you're right. It's so hard to predict who like what your identity of your team is. For the Rockets, at least we have something that
Hmm.
defensively, I think we're not as good offensively. I think defensively, there's some positive signs going on right
Yeah.
now. I mean, since the Harden trade, the Rockets have been top three in defensive efficiency, and
Yeah.
they've really gotten better. They've been scrappy. They got some dogs on that team, some guys that people were doubting and stuff like that. The guys that are
Yeah.
playing well and stuff like that. So, a lot of undrafted guys and stuff like that that are proving their worth. And so it's hard to predict because a team like Toronto, who started really slow, is now starting to ramp back up again, and now they're entering the playoff mix. And then you have a
Yeah.
team like Boston, who missed Jason Tatum for 2 weeks, and then he came back, and then now you're getting Kimball Walker, and then now you got to start to fit him in and stuff like that. So it's a lot of things that are happening that you just kind of don't know because it's really interesting to see how these teams are because most of the time if it was a normal NBA regular season you would kind of know, okay, 40 games in, 40 to 45 to 50 games and you kind of know what team you have. But this season it's kind of hard to know what kind of team you have because it's a mystery. It's a mystery because it's really interesting how things are gonna go out right now. And
Yeah.
I mean, you got teams like the Knicks, which isn't a fluke. Knicks are sixth right now in the
Oh yeah.
East, and they're playing really well. Tom Thibodeau, shout out to Tom Thibodeau over there. He's changed his habits the way it was when he was in Chicago, playing all them guys 40 plus minutes. He still lives with the young guys, which I don't know if you should be 40 plus minutes, but I think it should still be a lot of minutes. But like teams like the Knicks, which are improving, the Hawks, as they should be in the playoff picture. The Cavs, the Hornets with LaMelo Ball.
Oh
LaMelo
yeah.
is playing well right now. Even though they're in the 10th spot, they're pretty much in the playing scenario. Miami's 13th. Miami has disappointed, but
Yeah.
also they're just like every other team dealing with COVID, with injuries. Apparently, they're going to miss Avery Bradley for a couple weeks now. Jimmy Butler's trying to come back into flow now. And so, you know, I thought there was one team, but I don't think there really is right now. I think it's really, really hard to predict which team is really like, okay, aside from Utah, which has just been playing
Hmm.
unbelievable. Donovan
Yeah.
Mitchell, I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be in also. I think I kind of looked at it from a voting perspective and thought I don't really know if he's going to be in because you know let me look at those voting. Like the first round of votes came out, I think it was throughout the week and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So far, the list of players that came out, it was like obviously Steph, LeBron, and stuff like that. So let me see. Yeah, the first round of All Star votes came out. Yeah, let me just see. Yeah, so this is like the first round of All Star votes that came out so far. So this is the front court, pretty much where you got LeBron, Steph,
Yeah.
Luca, where you got all of the guys and stuff like that. So this is pretty much like the first round of how it should be and stuff like that. That's the front court of all the guys, and then you got in the East and stuff like that. Nikola Jokic, like a lot of guys have been playing well. A lot of guys have been
Yeah.
playing
Right
great.
up.
But now it's pretty much trying to find out, okay, who are the guys that are going to be in and who are the guys that are going to be out? And we don't know because Bradley Beal, last year, people were complaining, oh, Bradley Beal's having such a great year. So was his team winning? No. The same scenario just happened this year. Zach LaVine is having a great year, but the Wolves aren't
Yeah.
necessarily in a great spot. So now they're like, okay, here we go again with the same thing. Now with Zach LaVine and with Bradley Beal and stuff like that, are they going to be in? And Bradley Beal is like top three in voting right now in terms of guards in the East.
Oh,
So they pretty much, fans are kind of like, okay, we saw last year what happened. I think it was, yeah, we saw last year what happened. We're going to put him in
wait,
this
is it
year.
Zach Levine or Bradley Beal? Like
Bradley
in
Beal,
top three?
actually.
Yeah.
Bradley
Okay.
Beal, I don't know if I said Bradley Beal, I apologize for that. But yeah, Bradley Beal's top three in voting, as it should be, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's good noticing. It's good noticing and stuff like that. I mean, Utah, how good can Utah be? Because we look at, the Clippers and the Lakers are how good can Utah be? Like, do you see them beating the top LA teams or
I mean, with the consistency, they can. Like if they keep shooting the way they were, they can definitely beat them. But I'm not sure. I'm not really sure.
Mark Jackson once said this on broadcast. He said that any team can be beaten, and he's right. The
Hmm.
Lakers are not going 80. Nobody's going 82 and 0. At some point, you're going to be
Yeah.
beaten, or in this case, 72 and 0 this year. But no, every team's going to be beaten and stuff like that. And I think Utah just has like a 2015, 2016. Steve Kerr came out with some comments talking about like this Utah team is kind of like the Warriors. And he's not saying, oh, Donovan Mitchell, all of a sudden Steph Curry and stuff like that, but the
Yeah.
style of play. They're one of the few teams that's top five in offense and top five in defense. And 3 point wise, they're like, ooh, they got a high percentage. They got over 5 to 10 guys that are shooting great from three. Donovan
Yeah.
Mitchell is playing great. Rudy Gobert, and I know what people, with Shaq and what he says about Rudy Gobert and stuff like that. Rudy Gobert is perfect for how Utah utilizes him.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
what Rudy Gobert does is when it comes to the pick and roll, and I've seen it in a couple of games now, it's like when he comes off a pick and roll, it's so much space because either Joe Ingles can have a layup or Donovan Mitchell can have a layup. When they can toss it to Rudy Gobert, or someone from the help side is gonna come to help, and then they can kick it out to shooters from three. Jordan Clarkson, by the way, he's playing great, and he's my
Oh
pick
yeah,
for a six man of the year right now.
yeah,
Just saying it right now, but that's really what Utah does. Like I've been really impressed with how well they've been playing, pretty much because I think if there was really one, I don't think they were a surprise. I think they were still going to be a playoff team regardless. I just the reason why I think Utah was like overrated coming into this year is because I don't know their ceiling playoff wise. That's really one of the reasons why. Can I say in the regular season they're going to be great, and so far they've been great. But I said in the regular season they're a good regular season team, but how
hmm
good are they in the playoffs? That's why I kind of list them as like an overrated team. No disrespect, really whatsoever. It's just pretty much I kind of measure teams now. There's certain teams that you got to measure now, man. That's kind of like okay, I've seen enough in the regular season. What can you do here? What can you do that? And there's really
yeah,
guys like Paul George and stuff like that. I'm like the Paul George stuff got to get is getting out of hand. It's old now. It's tired now. Paul George is having a great year, by the way. The Clippers are having a
yeah,
great year.
definitely.
So, but Paul George is kind of like, can you just do it in the playoffs? That's just what I've been asking for Paul George because he's been having great numbers in the regular season, but it's just kind of like, can he do that consistently in the playoffs? Because if he does that consistently in the playoffs and the Clippers knock out the Lakers and go to the finals and maybe they potentially win it, that that in and of
Yeah,
itself that removes like the pandemic fee discussion, that
yeah,
ridiculous
first.
discussion and stuff like that. So uh let's just a little bit of soccer, man. We don't really talk about much soccer on this podcast,
hmm
because we really just watched the Champions League. That really, in and of itself, the Premier League race is always interesting. That's
Yeah,
kind of what like I appreciate from the Premier League. Is like the race is tight, and you never really know. Like one team losing here in the top three can drop to the top five, and one
yeah,
team that was in the top five can enter the top three. But in the Premier League, when it comes to Manchester United and stuff like that, they suck. The run has been overrated, but they've been playing great as well. No, they haven't really played. I mean, you beat a team in Southampton that's not even that good. Southampton. That's the second time that you beat a team 9-0. Southampton were already accustomed to it a couple of years ago when Leicester just whooped them, just exactly 9-0. And I'm like, how do you? In soccer, that's just like NBA terms. That's like getting beat by 30 or 40. That's like really when the Mavericks beat the Clippers by 50. I don't know if it equates to that much, but that's just how it feels. That's just
yeah.
how I don't know if
Honestly,
it has the same sense because 50 obviously is more than nine, but like that's how it feels because if you're a manager of Southampton, if I was a manager, that's what I'd be like, man, I'm gonna go to management and I'm gonna shake all of their hands and say I'm gone, but just bye. Y'all can fire me right now because that's inexcusable, bro. You can lose, and when it comes to soccer, you can lose 3-0, 4-0. That happens. You're gonna get beat sometimes. It happens. But more than five goals, that's an issue. That signifies, man, they were looking like Barca defense out there, allowing anything over there. Man, you was having a field day then. If them boys
yeah,
allowed 9 goals in, that's a problem. You can't have that stuff
yeah,
like that.
first.
So that in and of itself. I mean, it's a tight race. It's a tight race, really. Crazy thing is, like from fourth to first, the separation to get there is like 7 points, and it can literally be made up in like 3 games. That's how
Yeah,
crucial it is. So Manchester United, as of late, them dudes been dropping. They dropped a game today, blowing a lead against Everton, and so now they're kind of like when they should be at 46, they're now at 45, so they go down a little bit more and stuff like that. So
yeah.
let's talk about like okay, so let's talk about the look, not the LeBron and MJ debate, but like when it comes to all top 10 lists, when it comes to all of those things and stuff like that. Look, man, let's be honest, we're young. like when it comes to NBA Twitter, I don't know if you're on Twitter that much, but when it comes to people having the most ridiculous opinions on Twitter, it's really bad. Like that community can be really bad. And we set out so much high expectations for a lot of young players coming in that it's ridiculous. Like Anthony, let's say a guy like Anthony Edwards, Minnesota isn't exactly playing well right now. He's
Mhm.
one of the few bright spots going on right now. They are missing Cat due to COVID. D'Angelo Russell, has been a little bit shaky. I haven't really been watching Minnesota basketball, to be honest, so I can't really comment on much as a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, the average fan will watch. But we gotta stop this, man. Like, let's just say Anthony Edwards plays bad. Will the Timberwolves regret at drafting Anthony Edwards at one? Luca doesn't is not playing well right now. Well, Luca, we put him so high to get the MVP, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what the media does is exactly that. They will create such high expectations for these youths that it's ridiculous. We gotta stop that, bro. We
yeah,
gotta stop that because I used to do that, but that's because I was young. I don't know what the heck in the NBA was going on, stuff like that. Who knows what kind of opinions I was making back? I don't know because when it comes to all-time debates and stuff like that, and I'm having conversations with my guys and my teammates and stuff like that. Some people are LeBron, some people are MJ, others are AI, others are KD, stuff like
yeah.
that. And I'm like, when it comes to who are the greatest shooters of all time, and in my opinion, I watched Steph Curry play. When you do greatest of all time, you have to actually be in the era in which the players played in, because we
Mhm.
can't do a top 10 list of the greats. With these old heads, you don't know. They're probably
Yeah,
gonna put some guy that we don't even know that played in the 1960s, and we were born in the 2000s. So I don't know with them. Sometimes other top 10 list is like I said. I didn't see Shaq play. I saw Kobe play, but that was pretty much when he was done.
yeah,
LeBron, I've watched LeBron. I've had the pleasure and the blessing to watch LeBron from his Miami Heat days to him going back to Cleveland to him going back to the Lakers. I've had the blessing of watching that. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You see guys like that play. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was really a
yeah,
surprise to people. Most of the people didn't think Kawhi Leonard would be this good. But it's pretty much kind of like we have to stop setting such high expectations because as soon as they don't clear them, Luca, he sucks now.
yeah.
Luca's unbelievable. He's not playing well. He's not playing well. And then we're kind of like, slow down. He's in his third year. This man is averaging a near triple
For
double.
real.
Like, what else do you expect? You want him to average a 40-point triple double? What? Like, no, that's not how it works. And that's really with NBA Twitter and stuff like that. That's why I see all them ridiculous takes and stuff like that. And I'm like, we're really showing our age right now because Derrick Rose, like Derrick Rose when we won MVP, like I only seen highlights of Derrick Rose. Like
Yeah,
the
same.
Derrick Rose that I see now is pretty much the Derrick Rose that his athleticism isn't as it was anymore because of the injuries that he took. But he's still in the league. He's still playing well. I believe that he's gonna get traded to probably like a contender and stuff like that. I hope he does. I hope Detroit does something like that because Detroit, I'm guessing it's in a rebuilding stage, so they're probably going to trade their veterans and stuff like that. But like what I'm saying pretty much is kind of like I can't like give me your takes on like how the NBA world is viewed today, especially through social media, man.
Man, it's just honestly just about opinions and what you see, like in your perspective. For me, like what I grew up watching is just LeBron, a little bit of Kobe, just like you said. Ah, and the expectations, man, to these young players, they're just beginning. Like Luca, third year, or Jason Tatum, or anyone like all those young players. It's man, it's just a lot of expectation putting on them and
I think,
pressure. Like we
mhm,
gotta let go.
yeah. I think really just kind of like because if I didn't see Derrick Rose and like when Derrick Rose was just like because I heard Derrick Rose was killing like people don't realize like how good. Now I didn't see Derrick Rose play when I was still born and stuff like that. But I was probably like what 10 years old when it was like prime Derrick Rose when he was playing really. Well, I don't know about prime, but like a young Derrick Rose, he was one of the youngest MVP to get an MVP ever. But
Yeah.
what the stories that I was seeing, it's like, man, imagine if D Rose was in that Miami team. I'm like, D Rose was a prime, and I was like, I was looking at some of the highlights, and I was like, imagine if I was like 14 or 15 years old watching Derrick Rose play and stuff like that. Like, imagine if that was like Shaq. Shaq. I know Shaq's one of the greatest players, one of the greatest centers of all time, if not the greatest. I didn't see
Mhm.
Shaq play because I wasn't born, so I can't tell you what I saw or what I didn't see
Yeah.
because I don't know. I'm gonna be lying because I don't know. I can tell you what LeBron did right now. I can tell you what Steph did. I can tell you what Kevin Durant did, what Klay Thompson did. I can't tell you what Kobe did because I wasn't old enough to really see Kobe play. When the time that I was watching Kobe was like around really 2014 was really when I started. Well, really 2012 was my first time watching basketball, but I didn't really get into it until it was like 2 years later. So Kobe was like in his final years when it
Yeah.
comes to basketball and stuff like that. But like guys like that, it's like we because we're really young. Like we don't realize how young we were until how we don't truly realize how young we are these days because like you see on NBA Twitter, most of these dudes are probably our age or younger and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're coming up with an opinion against Michael Jordan. And I'm like, did you see Michael Jordan play? Because I didn't see Michael Jordan play, but I know he's one of the greats. All right,
Yeah.
well, Magic and stuff like that. I know Magic's one of the greatest point guards. In my opinion, I think Magic's the greatest point guard of all time. Without even seeing him play, I just
Mhm.
seen highlights,
Yeah.
mixtapes. Highlights don't mean anything. Like it's just really much a mix of 20 to 30 minutes of what the guy did in one game or what he did against multiple teams. Like I want to actually see a whole season and every game in which they played. But I was kind of like, I was impressed with that. And with LeBron, you saw it with LeBron. Really, that's why LeBron doesn't have more MVPs. That's why Michael Jordan should have more MVPs. That's why a lot of guys should be having more MVPs. But because the media is this way, creating
Mhm.
these ridiculous expectations and stuff like that, it gets kind of hard to know. It's kind of like, okay, well, LeBron should be having more than 4 MVPs. But yeah, MJ should be having more. I know if MJ got around 5 or 6 MVPs, but he should have more and stuff like that. So I don't know. I can't because it's ridiculous because you got dudes like Skip Bayless talking about LeBron, and you got Stephen A. and stuff like that. Like a lot of people who know. Well, I don't know if they really watch the game like that because that's one of the things that I'm trying to improve basketball wise. Is kind of like keeping up with almost every team stuff like that. And I know we pretty much have to improve that too. We're pretty much talking about every team when we just talk about the top tier teams and stuff like that. But we're getting there and stuff like that. I'm looking at other things and stuff like that. I'm looking at games, even though I'm really looking at highlights. I'm kind of looking at the games and stuff like that and how they're improving and also the stats. You can't buy in too much into stats because then it's going to be ridiculous. That's really how it is. But, you know, I don't, I don't know. It's just like I'm looking at it right now. There's one. Okay, so Jay Williams said that Kyrie, KD, and James Harden are the best trio in the history, like ever. Do you believe that they're the best trio ever? Ever?
I wouldn't
No.
say ever.
But in terms of offense, but let's say in terms of offense, you've never seen anything like it. Let's
Oh
just say
yeah,
that in
for
terms of
sure.
offensive mix and stuff like that, we've never seen a trio like this. Like
Mhm.
the dudes that can be every one of these three guys can go get you 40 in a night.
Yeah.
Every one of these guys can get you 40 and stuff like that. But when it comes to in the history, you have to go back MJ, Dennis Rodman,
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen, Magic, Kareem, like James Wood. Like you had to go back,
Yeah.
and then we weren't even born. And then I can't make a
Exactly.
debate and stuff like that when it comes to trios because that's why it's ridiculous to have a top 10 all time list because it's going to be a mix of players of today and players of old. I'm gonna
Hmm.
relate to the players of today
Today.
that are playing right now because that's what we only watch. I'm not gonna relate to Shaq because Shaq was
Yeah.
great, but I did not see Shaq play. I didn't see Charles Barkley play. I didn't see Magic play. I didn't see these older great players that played much Hall of Famers and stuff like that. I didn't get to
Yeah.
watch them play, so I don't know how to really evaluate them when it comes to top 10 lists, which comes back to the LeBron and Jordan debate. Like, I just want people to stop debating and appreciate greatness. And I say that, and no one listens to me. No one cares about what I'm saying and stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, you know, these media networks having the debate still while
Mhm.
LeBron's playing. They're gonna have the debate even more when LeBron retires down the line, which I don't
Yeah.
even know. LeBron might retire 5 years from now. Who knows, man? LeBron's still out there hooping. He's just doing his thing out there, which is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. But you can't have really a GOAT debate because it's different eras, different players, different styles,
Hmm.
different rule changes. Like the
Yeah.
way it is, like I watched some of the little highlights, man. The way they were getting beat up in the '90s and stuff like that, they were throwing
Yeah.
punches. Like it was legitimate punches, like the malice in the palace and stuff like that.
For
Like that's how the
real.
game was back then compared to how it is now. It's changed dramatically. So you can't have a GOAT debate because it's just impossible to have. You can't
Yeah.
have one because there's two different guys from two different eras. It's and stuff like that. So it's hard to tell. But I mean, Kendrick Perkins said this. I don't need to be convinced that LeBron is the GOAT. It's stamped. But if this Nets team can make it out of the East and Bron takes care of them, he's the undisputed GOAT. Beating two super teams today is greater than 6-0 in the 90s. Carry on. And then that is I that's when you make those sorts of opinions, that's why I can't stand our generation today because we're making all these comparisons. It's kind of like, did you see him play? Did you actually
Yeah.
see him play? And you didn't look at highlights or 20 to 30-minute mixtapes. Did you actually see him play? Because I laugh sometimes, man, because of these dudes having an opinion, stuff like that. I'm like, we were young. We,
Yeah.
we didn't see a lot of these guys play. It's like, you got to be appreciative of all the greats that played up until now. To players right now, to the Jason Tatums, to the Zions, to the Jazz, to potentially to the Bands, to the Giannis, to the Donovan Mitchells, to the De'Aaron Foxes, to guys that are emerging, younger guys, but are gonna emerge, and I believe they're gonna be great. Jaren Jackson Jr. and guys like that. There's like
Yeah.
more and more guys down the line that I could just name that I really don't have on the top of my head right now that I can say, wow, they're really gonna be really good players. Now, are they gonna challenge the guys that did it way, way before them? That's another debate to have. But I can't. You can't have the MJ versus LeBron discussion because it's ridiculous to have. So most of the people that say LeBron are pretty much 13, 14 year olds that pretty much are just watching LeBron now. Like, and these
Yeah.
old heads, so these old heads, they're gonna see what NJ saw, and they're automatically gonna put NJ as a goal. I have no problem with that. Why? Because they're older and they saw NJ play. Because then I
Exactly.
can kind of rely on them and say, okay, you watch them play, so I can't debate about it. But now, and then that's why, because then if I say that, then I'm saying that MJ's the GOAT. But then if I say something about LeBron, that means LeBron's the GOAT. Like I can't. That's really the issue, man. It's ridiculous
Yeah.
because I just think people have to just appreciate greatness in general. Stop comparing so much. Because like if you compare, it's
Yeah.
just like, how can you really compare when you weren't even in that era? That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's just and you know, it's yeah, I don't know because like I'm looking at some of these takes and stuff like that. People were talking about the level of competition that Jordan played versus LeBron faced. They both faced Hall of Famers. First of all,
Hmm.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can go John Stockton, Gary Payton, Karl Malone. Uh, I can I got more guys on top of my list, but they were older guys, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
LeBron, Steph Curry. Steph Curry's going to be a Hall of Famer. Klay Thompson's going to be a Hall of Famer. Kevin Durant's going to be a Hall of Famer. Draymond Green is also going to be a Hall of Famer. Uh, like Dirk Nowitzki is going to be a Hall of Famer. Like multiple
Yeah.
guys and stuff like that. So they're from different eras. But first of all, they they played against competition now. Both of them from both sides, they both played competition. I don't know. And then you have guys like Nick Wright that are the ultimate LeBron defender. And I'm guessing Nick Wright was old enough to see MJ play, but he neglects it and now goes to LeBron and stuff like that, which is his opinion, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know. And then you got people saying Mickey Mouse ring, and then you got a lot of things and stuff like that. Come on, man.
Man.
Just stop and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it represents. It's just you know NBA Twitter today is just a lot of young people. People are showing their age right now, and I don't like to involve myself in blasphemous talk. Like if I don't know what they're talking about, I'm not gonna comment on it. Either I saw them play or I didn't. If I didn't see, if it was something about MJ, if it's something about Charles Barkley or Shaq or Carmelo and John Stockton, I can't. Don't come with me with that. You can tell me all the stories and what they did and their trash talking, their pregame stuff like that. I can't debate with you on that because I didn't see them play because I wasn't even born. I wasn't even thought of. So I wasn't
Yeah.
even born and stuff like that. So like I don't know. That's just. And then there's Jason McIntyre talking about. So no, that's no. But like yeah. I love how 90s and late 80s babies talk about NJ like they remember watching him live. Stop it. Like, come on, man. If you were born in the 80s and 90s, congratulations. You get to see pretty much the greatest, like 80s and 90s, pretty much, and going even back. That was pretty much some of the greatest players ever when it came to the game of basketball. There was a lot of Hall of Famers that pretty much came in that mark. I pretty much know more from like the 90s, 2000s, to 2010s. So potentially now, depending how long I live, but like 2020s and stuff like that. But I can't compare because it's hard. And then you got Nick Wright, talking about, the case against Michael Jordan in the GOAT debate. So he said he was a total loser without Scottie Pippen. He never once beat Larry Bird. He could never beat a super team. The East was terrible. Everyone won rings on his watch. Okay, so first of all, okay, you can make the debate when it came to Scottie Pippen and stuff like that. Okay, Scottie Pippen did take them to the playoffs, and he was having a great season when MJ retired, and when he went to baseball, and he took the little break and stuff like that. So I get that. He never once beat Larry Bird. But first of all, Larry Bird's one of the greatest players of all time. Again, it's okay. You're not going to beat every team. Karl Malone went to the finals and went up against the Bulls, and he never beat Michael Jordan. Imagine if Karl Malone beats at least MJ one time. At least Karl Malone or John Stockton, they have a different debate, stuff like that. He
Yeah.
can never beat a super team. Well, here we go again. Now he's using it against him because of LeBron. Well, did you see LeBron and that Golden State team and stuff like that? The East was terrible and stuff like that. That's the same debate that they make about LeBron when he was with Cleveland. The East was really bad, and he went to the West, and everyone won rings on his watch. But do we realize, bro, how many MJ got 6 rings? Imagine if he doesn't get those 6 rings. Like how many guys get rings that were ringless, and how they're viewed in the basketball landscape changes.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard. It's hard because a Jordan versus LeBron stat I always thought was underrated. Number of times quitting the NBA, LeBron 0, MJ 2. Like, come on. Like, come on, dude. Like, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. And then Kendrick Perkins, my separator from Ron and everybody else's pressure. Go expectation from day one at 18 years old. Carry the city from day comparisons to legend from day one. All expectations. Well, I can agree because I think when it came to pressure, I don't think we realized, and I was 2003. That's what pretty much the year I was born, stuff like that. But I don't think people realize how much pressure LeBron had and how much he's really exceeded pretty much. If I wouldn't say he came out towards those expectations, that's hard, man. I mean, he's coming out of high school too, so he never really got the full college experience and stuff like that. So he did. So he did that. But it's and then I'll just finish it off with this. Nick Wright again. So this was like the game before the Lakers faced against the Heat, the potential closer. That's supposed to be game five, but it was actually game six. He says, so in 3 hours, LeBron will have his fourth ring with his third different franchise, making the NBA Finals 10 times with five different coaches, winning titles with three different coaches, and whom have four coaches. Oh, wait. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. But okay, I'm looking for something else and stuff like that, but it's a lot of kids, man. It's a lot of kids in NBA Twitter overall. So pretty much, I know we got a little bit out of the topic and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it. Like we're young and it's okay. We're showing our age. Like it's okay to you making this point that one guy's a goal while also discrediting another guy, and that's why you can't ever have a top 10 list of all time because someone's always gonna get taken out, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, what about what that guy did? What about what that guy did and stuff like that? So it's impossible to have a top 10 all time list, all time in general, because you have to go back now. Will Bill Russell, and I got Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. What about those guys? Like, come on, man. Like, it's
Oh no,
impossible. It's impossible. Like I'm trying to look for like a really, really bad take right now. Uh, okay, so I just finished. So Michael Jordan never had to go against three Hall of Famers, Golden State and now Brooklyn, or 73-9 stacked up team, Golden State, or the best coach and fundamental team of all time. Jordan played against bums in the finals. Bleep is sad. LeBron's the best. Sorry. And this dude's name is Aiden Ross. Aiden, I don't know if you know Aiden Ross. I actually see him a little bit sometimes. He's actually a streamer. Let me see how old he is. Okay, he's 20 years old. He was born in the 2000s. Again, 2000s. So he never saw MJ play. So he only saw highlights. Like that's the thing, man. It's like we're all young. Like that's
yeah,
the thing. It's like, dude, you didn't see MJ play. So well, how
yeah,
are you gonna? He's saying LeBron because he saw LeBron play. He saw a little bit of what he saw, but what about you can't discredit what MJ did?
yeah, for real.
That's how you can't ever have a debate because it's ridiculous. I don't when it comes to all time debates and stuff like that, we can talk about shooting, passing, defensive wise and stuff like that all time. We can talk about that because that's separate plays and stuff like that. I'm gonna talk about the plays that I saw from this generation that were great defenders, but there are probably plays in Gary Payton won a defense. When's the last time a guard won defensive player of the year? Gary Payton won a defensive player of the year as a guard. It's pretty much now wings and centers. Because it's hard these days for a guard to be in the defensive player of the year mix. So, but
Yeah,
that's why, because it's a lot of trolls online, a lot of guys who are young, who are showing their age, and it's okay. It's okay. So I try not to have that debate because it's worthless really having it. Because it's just, I don't really know what to tell you other than the fact that LeBron is one of the greats, MJ is one of the greats, Kareem, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Uh,
man, it
it's a
goes on.
lot. It's a lot. Kobe, Shaq, Charles
Yeah,
Barkley, NJ, obviously Scottie Pippen. Like come on, like that's it's a lot of players. That if you doing a top 10 all time list, you're discrediting pretty much all other guys, and you can't have a debate like that. When you have an all time debate, you have to actually see them both play and stuff like that. Seeing guys that played in the 80s and 90s compared to guys that play now. The old heads are gonna say MJ, Magic, and guys were the goats because they saw him play. They saw
yeah,
them play. So then I can't take away what they say because they saw them play. But now if I'm taking a dude that's 15 years old talking about, well, KD or LeBron's to go and stuff like that, I'm like, kid, you 15, so it's okay. You weren't born around that time, just like me. I wasn't born around the time that NJ. You weren't born around the time that NJ was playing, man. We all young. We can't make those debates. So I just try not to associate with those topics and stuff like that. I really try not to. And then we obviously have some ridiculous opinions today and stuff like that. So I try just not to. People talk about, well, LeBron. Look at the competition that LeBron had against NJ. NJ really, without Scottie Pippen, NJ kind of sucked and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, acknowledge the fact that Scottie Pippen is one of the all-time greats, NJ is one of the all-time greats, and LeBron's one of the all-time greats. That's it. Hey, Theo, I don't. I asked a couple of my guys who's the GOAT and stuff like that, and I was actually surprised that they answered. No one came up with an answer saying, you know what, I can't give you that. I'm just gonna appreciate greatness. Because that's just gonna be my answer as always, is that I'm never gonna have that. I'm never gonna be the guy that's gonna have that LeBron and NJ debate. Because as soon as I say one thing about the other, I'm discrediting about what the other guy did. So therefore, it's out of my hands. I can't deal with it, man. It's too many. It was too much of a headache, and then I'm pretty much gonna get mad. Get kind of like, okay, this dude is probably 16 years old commenting this right now about this, and he said this, and that. Oh, it's ridiculous. I just can't. I just can't, bro. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like what I wanted to get off my chest, man, because it's ridiculous out here, man. Some of the comments, some of the takes, they're pretty bad. I don't know. I hope somebody makes a YouTube video at least, like, because there's thousands, there's pretty much millions of bad NBA takes and stuff like that. So that's the thing. And the thing with soccer is the same thing. It's like we're seeing Messi and Ronaldo. We didn't see Messi and Ronaldo play all their career, but we've seen them play right now. So we
Yeah,
gotta appreciate it while they're here. And
yeah.
Neymar's more worried about partying right now. So Neymar, by the way, it was actually Neymar's 29th birthday, by the way.
Oh,
So it was his birthday yesterday, actually. So Neymar, in my opinion, right now, if Neymar was healthy and stuff like that, I believe Neymar was a top three player when it came
yeah,
to soccer. And I'm not alone on that. Like, did you actually see him play? Yeah, I don't know if people saw him play. Then people throw up Eden Hazard and Sadio Mane and stuff like that. No, like, dude, did you actually see him play? So then that's the thing like that because when it comes to the old heads, I kind of step back because I kind of say, you know what? You saw him play. You saw him play. I didn't see him play, so I can't use that debate for this. So that's why I can't really ever have that debate because guys like Stephen A. are gonna say MJ because he saw MJK play, and guys like Kendrick Perkins who were probably really young when MJ was playing up until now, him seeing LeBron is gonna say LeBron's the GOAT age difference pretty much, and then when they really started investing in basketball. That's pretty much it. Pretty much a good episode, stuff like that. It's just don't associate yourself with that blasphemous talk, man. Because it's gonna get you mad. It's gonna get you frustrated. I hope you don't ever make that type of opinions and stuff like that. I hope you don't comment on stuff like that. That people talk about
yeah,
the LeBron and NJ debate, have all these stats, this statistics, this ridiculous stuff and stuff like that. I don't associate myself with that stuff, man. It's
yeah.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous out here, man. It's really blasphemous. Really, like some of the takes that little kids. These ain't grown men now. These little kids are having. So you can't
Yeah.
have. If you want to say who's the best player right now, okay, I can tell you right now because I'm seeing them play. If I tell you who was the best player in the '90s, I can't tell you that because I didn't see them play. But I know the greats that were there. I know that the greats that played. We're starting with Karl Malone, Josh Stockton, Michael Jordan, Shaq, well, really, Shaq came along in like the 2000s. It was really the back end of the 90s going into the 2000s when Shaq was dominant pretty much.
Right.
Orlando, he wasn't really winning, but he was playing great. It wasn't until he went to the Lakers that he did great. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wasted my breath there talking about a lot of these shows online, but it was worth it though. It's a lot of bad opinions, bad NBA takes, man, bad NBA takes. So I can't associate myself with that. it's ridiculous. But yeah, so I don't know if you're gonna watch the Super Bowl though, but you know about the commercials and everything, right? Like
Oh
every
yeah.
year they got a lot
Yeah.
of them commercials and stuff like that. Okay, so I don't know if you keep up with football like that, man, but there's been a lot of talk. So who you got in the big game though?
I'm gonna go with like that's a hard choice, but I think I go with Brady.
Brady.
Tom.
Okay. You know, man, I've kind of when I bet against Brady, I lose. I actually picked the team that was going against Brady a couple weeks ago. I said Brady ain't making it to the Super Bowl, and he did. And then but it's hard. I can't, man. I can't. But it's good of you though not to bet against Tom Brady because a lot of
Yeah.
people do that, and then worst thing happens, he gets to this, and that. But then again, Tom Brady, he's 43 years old and he's in the Super Bowl. That's insane, bro. Like 40-year-olds will be retiring right now, being an
Ex-
analyst and stuff like that. They'll be enjoying their retirement life. But and then he's saying that he's potentially probably gonna play another 3 to 4 years with considering how soft people, old heads with basketball and football talking about, how soft the game is now and how it is now. Players can play up to 40 plus years and stuff like can play up to 40 and more. And that's pretty much how it's gonna be with basketball, football, pretty much all sports in general, because the way it is now, the technology it is when it comes to injuries, like guys
yeah.
when they get an injury, stuff like that, the recovery time is quicker and they're gonna come back even better, even though they might lose some of their athleticism, whatever they had. It's better than what it was back in the 80s and 90s. That's why you see LeBron, he's still out there playing great. You know, guys like Kevin Durant who rarely get injured aside from his Achilles, he's playing great. James
Mhm.
Harden, as much as we kind of hate James Harden, or we didn't, I guess by James Harden, that's really it. You could have gotten us a ring and stuff like that. One thing that I would never take away from James Harden is that he's durable, that he did play almost every single night. So that's what we got to appreciate for sure and stuff like that. He's 43 years old, man. He should be out there, hanging out with his wife, his kids, and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and enjoying that retirement. Like this man is still playing, which is just insane. So he still got love for the game and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Stuff like that. Another great episode in the books. Next week we'll talk about the All Star thing, All Star voting and stuff like that. We'll actually do like an All Star. So you get so yeah, we'll talk about the details throughout the week and stuff like that. But All Star voting, we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, I said this podcast thing, we gotta improve and stuff like that. It's all about improving every single week and stuff like that. Coming up with better NBA takes and watching everything, watching all the teams, watching all the things and stuff like that. Because we're trying, we're young pups. So
Yeah.
we're no one. I don't care who it is. No one's ever gonna watch. You're not watching 7 games in a row. You're not watching 7 games in a row. I can do 2 games, man. I can do 2 games. I can't do 7 games. If you can do 7 games, you must have had 6 eyes or something because that's nearly impossible to do.
Yeah.
That's nearly impossible to do. But we're gonna do our best as we should and just put more effort in overall. This is how it goes. Just trying to be great at the end of the day. And then we'll talk more about soccer. But like I said, I'm not really going into much soccer talk because aside from the Premier League race, it's really the Champions League where things start heating up. And actually, let me check. Let me check actually. When is it Champions? Champions is actually this month. So
Yeah.
February 16th. It's 10
Yeah.
days from now. That's when it starts now.
Yeah.
So here we go again. The big dance. So yeah. You got anything else, man?
I got nothing, man.
All right. Next week.
Yeah.
All right, bro.